I'm now joined by Bongeka Nodada, SAICA Project Director of Financial Reporting. Bongeka, thanks so much for joining us. We were talking briefly about this panel and exactly what it is it does. Can you just give us more insights into that?
Now, the Financial Reporting Investigation Panel was constituted or replaced or superseded what we call the GAP Monitoring Panel. So just to give you some context, the GAP Monitoring Panel was established back in early 2000s, and it was its role was to monitor compliance with statements of GAP at the time.
Sure.
And that continued until 2011. So a decade later, we had the Financial Reporting Investigations Panel, which now advises the JSE or the issue regulation of the JSE on issues of non-compliance with financial reporting requirements, or IFRS.
So now you say there are vacancies. So how many vacancies on the panel, and how long do people have to apply?
We've got about 4 vacancies. We've got just over a month to actually. We've got over a month for people to respond to the JSE's announcement. 4 vacancies, which is preparers. We're looking for preparers. We're looking for auditors as well, for users, or what we call analysts, as well as academics of listed companies.
I mean, so in terms of some of the functions of the panel, would it have been the panel's role to have maybe looked at a situation like a Steinhoff and possibly have averted that, or even some are talking about a potential scandal that might erupt within the resilient group of properties? Would that be what the panel focuses on?
Well, just remember that the panel looks at issues that are referred to by the JSE. So it can be issues probably that arose from a complaint that's been lodged by a regulator, for example, or individual, or it could be an issue that arose from a proactive monitoring panel process of the JSE. Mm-hmm. So if a particular set of financial statements, it could be any company's set of financial statements, was being referred to by the JSE as a result of those 2 processes or any other process, yes, they would actually been looked at by the FRIP.
Mm-hmm. And is FRIP currently now looking at issues relating to a Steinhoff, even the resilient group of properties, which I know have also been reported?
I cannot say that at the point in time, because the investigations are still taking place at the various organizations, including SAICA and other organizations.
I mean, Bongeka, I imagine that your role now within this panel is quite difficult because of the fact that there's such a trust deficit now, with some even are lacking trust in the regulator, that is the JSE. Some are lacking trust in the accounting fraternity as a whole. As a panel, I mean, how will you guys work to ensure that perhaps some of the trust in our financial institutions can be improved?
Just remember that the panel is actually not involved in the detailed investigations of companies.
All right.
Obviously, it looks just at the financial statements side of issues. So, in terms of the composition of the panel, we do believe that we've got the right expertise that sit on the panel.
Who's currently there?
There's listed companies, a few listed companies. We've got audit firms as well, the big 4 audit firms that sit there as well. And then we've got some users as well, and then we've got academics, your higher education institutions that are sitting there as well.
And then does the panel have any teeth to do something about companies that are referred to by various organizations, maybe even the JSE, to actually enforce some form of accountability on these companies or implement any form of penalties?
No, that's not the role of the FRIP. The FRIP is an advisory body. That's the role of the JSE, to actually enforce compliance with IFRS for SME, with IFRS. So as an advisory body, you actually don't have that enforcement powers. Right. On companies, on listed companies, yes.
All right. And remind us, they've got until August 4th to
the 16th, I think.
Yes. August 16th?
Yes.
All right, okay. Well, because we are short of jobs in this country, so I think that this announcement might come to good news for people who have been sending through their CVs and not receiving any responses. But many thanks to Bongeka Nodada of SAICA, the Project Director of Financial Reporting there.